If you love this show, you should consider signing up at WrestlingObserver.com. WrestlingObserver.com has every show that we have ever done, over 15,000 podcasts in the archives, dating back to 2005. Searchable by show, searchable by year. Perhaps the first show you ever watched was 2008 WrestleMania? Well, you can head into the archives and you can find the podcast we did, all built around the 2008 WrestleMania. Every major show, whether it be WWE, AEW, we covered it all. 15,000 archived shows at WrestlingObserver.com. Also, when you subscribe, you get full access to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a new Observer every Friday. And on top of that, we have thousands and thousands of archived issues of the Observer dating back to 1991. So again, WrestleMania 2008. Go to the archives, search WrestleMania 2008, read all of the issues surrounding that show. Of course, Wrestling Observer newsletter, 40,000 words of news and information on pro wrestling and mixed martial arts every single week. New issue comes out every Friday. New back issue comes out every Monday. You also get the discussion board. One of the best discussion boards on the internet. It's members only. If you're going to troll, well, you got to pay to troll, and there aren't too many of those. And if you cause too much trouble, you're out of there. So if you want a great place to discuss professional wrestling, it is the board. Also available as a subscriber at WrestlingObserver.com. The whole package, all of the new shows, all of the archived shows, all of the new issues of the Observer, all of the archived editions of the newsletter, all of the past episodes of Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer Live, The Brian and Vinny Show, Figure Four Daily, Filthy Four Daily, The Board, all of it, just $14.99 per month. The full shebang. And you can save a lot of money getting an annual subscription. A full year, you basically get 2 months free. So check it out, WrestlingObserver.com, everything you'll ever need as a fan of professional wrestling. Check it out today, F4WOnline.com.
Dark Side of the Ring, Season 6. The episode list has been revealed. The show returns to Vice TV with 10 new episodes beginning on Tuesday, March 25th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't have Vice TV, and I'll look at both chats. I'll open up the YouTube chat and see how those hyenas are doing. Everybody in here in the Twitch chat, let me know if you actually have Vice TV or not, because I don't. And on Local Now, the Byron Allen service with all the free fast channels that are on there, there is a Vice TV one, but I don't know if that's just a fast channel or that's a actual stream of their cable network, but it's not on YouTube TV. It's been dropped, I think, from my Comcast, Xfinity. Even if I had cable, it got dropped from that service. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to see some of these. I'd like to see some of them. Some of the stories, we'll see. There's Hell in a Cell, which is going to be opening up the season 6 episodes. Then one on Big Van Vader, Tony Atlas, Ludwig Borga, which that's an interesting one, Tony Halm, Billy Jack Haynes, Eddie Gilbert, Superstar Billy Graham, Daphne, The Originals Sheik, and Muhammad Hassan. I don't know if that's going to be closing the season or not, but interviews with Mick Foley, Jim Cornette, Jim Ross, Rob Van Dam, Tony Atlas, and Mark Kapani, who played Muhammad Hassan, along with Mark Henry and Billy Jack Haynes, are included in the trailer. Haynes was arrested and charged with the murder of his 85-year-old wife, Jeanette Beecraft, in February of 2024. The Hell in a Cell episode, as what's written on the main page of the site, looks to be heavily focused on Foley and his match against The Undertaker from King of the Ring 1998. But as the Beyond the Mat movie showed, where he wrestled The Rock and took all those chair shots, and the fact that, I don't know how old Mick Foley is, but he moves like he's 80 sometimes when you see him. There's an easy episode to do on the ramifications of doing something that you love so much and wanting to give your all to it and then having to suffer the consequences afterwards. So a couple of those stories. Big Van Vader, I don't know. I guess there's a dark side to his story when he was arrested in Kuwait when he jacked up the television presenter, and they didn't like that very much and threw him in jail for real. Tony Atlas, I think his story has been said a lot of times, but it's a very easy one to tell because he is such a character when you hear him do these interviews. I mean, if you saw the McMahon Netflix one, where Atlas, there's that one clip where he's talking about Pat Patterson. He's like, he grabbed my pecker. And it was like, just only Tony Atlas could put, such a serious thing, put it in such a way like that, where it was almost comedic, him talking about the situation. And obviously there's his side of his life where he just loves to be walked on by women, wearing on Georgia Championship Wrestling the "Hey Ladies, Walk on My Chest" shirt that he had. So he is such a cartoon character and has lived so many lives in professional wrestling. Even though I doubt there is going to be anything new we hear, I can't blame them for going with Tony Atlas as a story to tell because it's just too easy. Same thing with Billy Jack Haynes. The most interesting one to me is going to be number one about Eddie Gilbert, who is such a fascinating character. He was one of my favorite professional wrestlers growing up. When I had a chance to see him in Mid-South and in the UWF, became the manager for Sting and Rick Steiner. He and Missy Hyatt got together, so you had Hyatt and Hot Stuff International, and he became such a divisive figure, whether that was him booking in Southeastern or going up to ECW and kicking that off. And there's a lot of stories that go into Eddie Gilbert and Paul Heyman, and people that think that Paul Heyman pushed Eddie out of position there. And all of this stuff happened with Eddie Gilbert, and he passed away, if I'm not mistaken, at 34 years old. That was a guy who, his first huge big break that people heard about came way back in 1982 when he got into a car crash while he was working for the WWF, and then they played up an angle where the Masked Superstar injured him. They actually got the doctor, the steroid doctor, who was always at ringside for the WWF events. He was actually doing an on-screen thing, checking on Eddie Gilbert after Superstar laid him out in his feud with Bob Backlund. So he was such a, I'm not saying a pivotal figure, but he was everywhere for so long, and he was a guy whose life ended so incredibly early. When you think about Eddie Gilbert and Rick McGraw and a lot of these other guys and how early they passed away.
Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe.